Hello friends, if you're 65 or older and that envelope from the Social Security Administration just landed in your mailbox asking you to fill out Form SSA 3885, the Government Pension Questionnaire, put the pen down right now. Filling this one out without knowing exactly what you're doing could cost you thousands of dollars in reduced monthly checks starting as soon as next month, and it might lock in those lower payments for the rest of your retirement. Thousands, not pocket change. Real money gone from the check that pays your rent, your prescriptions, and keeps the lights on. Let me know in the comments from which state you are watching. Most seniors I talk to assume any official-looking form from the SSA is just bureaucracy they have to go along with. They think sending back that pension information is harmless paperwork, maybe even something that protects them or gets them a little extra. But friends, that's the dangerous assumption that has already drained retirement savings for countless people just like you. Stay with me until the very end, because the last trap is the one almost nobody talks about, the one that catches even careful retirees completely off guard. Missing these details doesn't just mean skipping another YouTube video. It means leaving real dollars on the table, dollars that affect your safety, your independence, and your peace of mind every single month. In this senior finance niche, where I've written for years, we've seen it over and over. One wrong move on a form and your fixed income shrinks. Not a discount, not a temporary adjustment. An actual cut that compounds over years into tens of thousands lost. Bill number 1 is the one that hits hardest for teachers, police officers, firefighters, and anyone who spent years in state or local government jobs. The common wrong assumption is that your government pension from those non-covered years sits completely separate from your Social Security retirement or spousal benefits. You figure filling out Form SSA 3885 just confirms what they already know in their computers and keeps everything running smoothly. Nothing could be further from the truth. The real mechanism here is something called the Government Pension Offset, or GPO. It takes 2/3 of your monthly pension amount and subtracts it directly from your Social Security, spousal, or Viver benefit. Let me make that concrete. If your government pension pays you $100 a month, the SSA can pull $800 right off your Social Security check. That's not theory. That's $9,600 a year for many widows and couples we've heard from. One woman in Ohio, a retired teacher with a solid $500 pension, saw her survivor benefit drop from $400 to barely $600 after responding to that questionnaire. She lost over $9,000 in the first year alone. The concrete action you can take this week is powerful and simple. Do not fill out or return Form SSA 3885 unless your local SSA office has sent you a specific notice tied to a pending claim and you've called to confirm. Pick up the phone
I wish
and
I had
dial
called first.
1-800-772-143.
Calling first takes 20
Tell them your
minutes.
situation
Fixing this
calmly.
takes months.
Ask if the form is truly required right now. In many cases, especially if your records are already flagged from years ago, it's not. Document the call. Get the representative's name or ID. That one call can save you thousands. Let me know in the comments from which state you are watching if you've received one of these letters. Group 2 catches even more people because it involves the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP. Seniors assume that voluntarily filling out that pension questionnaire helps prove their covered earnings history and actually protects or even boosts their full retirement benefit. They think more information always helps the system calculate fairly. That's the trap. The real mechanism activates when the form reveals those years of non-covered government work. It can reduce your primary insurance amount by 40% or more depending on your earnings record. Here's a specific number that hits home. A retired firefighter with 25 years of mixed service might see his expected $200 monthly Social Security check recalculated down to $5,500 or less after submitting the form. That's $8,400 gone every single year. We've had viewers write in from Texas and California saying the same thing. One man lost $14,000 across 2 years before he realized what happened. He thought he was being responsible by filling out the paperwork promptly. The action step you can take this week is straightforward and protective. Before you touch that SSA 3885, log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Download your official earnings record, review every year yourself. Compare it against your old W-2s or pension statements. If anything looks off or if the form seems unnecessary, request a formal correction with proof in hand. Mail certified copies if needed. Do this before returning any questionnaire. It puts you in control instead of reacting to their letter. Now, bill number 3. This one sneaks up on folks who retired a bit early or still do some part-time consulting or seasonal work. The The wrong assumption most people make is that any SSA form asking about income or pensions is just for verification and won't actually change their current benefit amount. They fill it out quickly to avoid any delay or penalty. But the real mechanism is the earnings test that applies before full retirement age. Report extra income or a pension bump on that form, and it can trigger an automatic review. For 2026, if you're under full retirement age, the SSA deducts $1 for every $2 you earn over roughly $22,320 in the year. One senior in Pennsylvania, a 66-year-old widow doing some tutoring, filled out the update form after a small pension cost of living increase. Her next 3 checks each dropped by $380. That's over $1,000 gone in 1 quarter, not because she earned too much overall, but because the form kicked off the recalculation at the worst time. The concrete action this week? Ignore the form if it's not attached to an overpayment notice or specific claim. Instead, use the secure online portal at ssa.gov to check and update your earnings information directly. Pull your latest statements. Cross-reference with your tax documents. Only submit changes through the official account where you control the narrative. This keeps everything accurate without handing them a blank check to reduce your payments. Let me know in the comments from which state you are watching and if this is already happening to you or someone you know. The fourth area that costs seniors thousands involves Medicare coordination and those seemingly innocent follow-up questionnaires. Many assume these forms are only about adjusting Part B premiums or IRMA surcharges based on income. They fill them out thinking it helps lower their overall costs. The truth is more complicated. Providing updated pension or income details can sometimes flag inconsistencies in your full record, leading to a broader review that applies offsets retroactively. One couple in Michigan reported their combined pensions on what they thought was a routine form. Months later, they faced a notice saying their spousal benefit had been overpaid by $4,200 because of the GPO interaction. They had to repay through reduced checks for over a year. That's the mechanism. Named agency action. Always verify with 1-800-772-113 or your local office before responding. Ask for the specific regulation or section that requires the form in your case. Get it in writing if possible. Friends, there's a fifth one too, the hidden follow-up trap. Some of you get a second or third version of these pension forms after benefits have already started.
I wish I had called
The wrong
first.
assumption is that it's
Calling
just
first takes
administrative
20 minutes.
housekeeping.
Fixing this
But
takes
returning
months.
detailed pension amount updates can trigger the SSA to re-examine your entire entitlement under both WEP and GPO rules, especially if prior years had estimates. A retiree in Arizona shared his story. He filled out the update thinking it was required for his annual review. His monthly benefit dropped $320 permanently. Over 5 years, that's more than $19,000 less in his pocket. The real mechanism is how the SSA uses the exact pension figures to apply the strictest offset possible. The action you take this week is to pause. Gather every pension statement, every prior SSA letter, and your earnings record. Call the toll-free number. Explain you received Form SA 3885 and want confirmation it's mandatory. Many times they will tell you to hold off or provide an alternative way to verify. Let me know in the comments from which state you are watching. Now, the one almost nobody talks about, the sixth trap that catches even the most organized seniors. This involves voluntary reporting on these forms when you think you're helping the system or correcting a small error. Seniors assume being proactive by filling out and sending back pension questionnaires prevents future problems or overpayments. The dangerous reality is that it can create new ones. The SSA might use the fresh data to question prior benefit calculations, leading to an overpayment demand notice. You could owe back thousands, repaid through garnished checks at 10% or more per month until cleared. We've seen it with forms that seem identical to SSA 3885, but ask for updated annuity details. One widow in Florida lost $6,800 in adjusted payments over 18 months after a proactive submission. The mechanism is the SSA's authority to adjust retroactively when new pension data comes in. The concrete step this week: never submit voluntarily. If the letter arrives, scan it, note the date, and call 1-800-772-13 immediately. Ask if there's a deadline and whether you can provide information verbally or through their secure portal instead of the full form. This protects your current payment level while you sort facts. Expanding on these, think about how these reductions compound. A $200 monthly cut isn't just $2,400 a year. Over 10 years of retirement, that's $24,000 or more, plus lost interest if you had it invested safely. Groceries get tighter. That annual trip to see the grandkids gets canceled. Medicine choices become stressful. I've written scripts for channels where seniors share exactly these stories. One gentleman from Illinois told us he followed what he thought was good advice and filled out the pension form promptly. 2 months later, his check was $450 lighter. He spent weeks on the phone fighting it, only to learn the offset was locked in. Another viewer from New York, a retired school administrator, saw her survivor's benefit halved after responding to what looked like a standard update. She wished she had called first. The pattern is clear across every state. The SSA sends these forms because they need data to apply rules like GPO and WEP correctly. But the system doesn't always explain the downside in plain English on the letter. It just says complete and return. That's why so many good people lose out. They want to do the right thing. They trust the government agency. But without the full picture, that trust costs thousands. Let me know in the comments from which state you are watching if you've dealt with something similar. Another layer that makes this urgent, these forms often arrive around tax time or after COLA adjustments when you're already juggling paperwork. The pressure to respond quickly is real, but rushing is exactly what triggers the reductions. Take a breath. The law gives you time. Use it to verify. Pull your My Social Security account statements. Note every benefit amount. Compare pension deposits. If numbers don't match what you expect, that's your red flag to call before filling anything. For those on spousal benefits especially, the risk is higher. The GPO can wipe out a large portion if your own retirement record is smaller. One specific example, a 68-year-old in Georgia whose husband had strong covered earnings, but she had a public school pension. After the questionnaire, her spousal top-up went from $900 to $200. Thousands vanished. Her action that saved further loss was refusing the form initially and consulting the 1-800 number. She got confirmation the offset already applied fully and no further reduction was needed. Friends, zoom out with me for a moment. Your Social Security check is your foundation. It's not extra income, it's the money you earned over decades of hard work. Protecting it means being careful with every piece of paper the SSA sends. One form like SSA 3885 can seem minor, but it opens the door to recalculations that favor the system's offsets over your wallet. The stakes are your daily security, your ability to help family, and your dignity in retirement. Don't let a single questionnaire undo years of planning. Share this script with your spouse while you're both at the kitchen table. Forward it to your neighbor who mentioned getting mail from SSA last week. Send it to your adult children so they can watch out for you. These reductions don't just affect you today. They ripple through your entire retirement budget. Hit subscribe right now so the next alert about Medicare changes, scam letters, or benefit updates lands in your feed before it costs you. We've got more coming on how to fight overpayments, maximize COLAs, and avoid the traps nobody else covers in plain talk. Your check, your
I wish I had
safety,
called
and your future
first.
deserve this vigilance.
Calling first
Stay
takes
sharp
20
out there,
minutes.
friends.
Fixing
One
this
careful
takes
call
months.
or one skipped form can keep thousands where they belong, in your pocket.